Hello and welcome to Fin Business. Today we are in conversation with Munish Sabharwal from SBI Mutual Fund. Sir, welcome on the show.
Thank you very much.
We have seen a surge in mutual fund after demonetization, and again the rally has shifted. How has been the growth in last 1 year, specifically into the mutual fund industry? What kind of returns have you generated for your investors?
When the time of the idea has come, then nobody can stop that idea. And today, the time of the mutual fund actually, because after the financialization of saving is a big trend. People are moving from physical assets to a financial assets in a big way.
Right.
And mutual fund is a natural beneficiary of that. So earlier the problem with the mutual fund is reaching out to the last person was the challenge actually. So now the challenge has been overcome because a lot of new partners has come into the picture, whether it is a public sector banks or private sector banks or even the payment banks or so they are coming into a distribution of the mutual funds. So reach of the mutual fund has increased in a big way. So because of the reach, we are able to reach out to the last persons, and last month the industry had touched a historic asset of 25 lakh crore, which is a phenomenal number, and the industry is growing on month basis with a spectacular speed, and we are able to add in a lot of new customer during that. In fact, just give you the tip, in mutual fund industry as a whole, we are collecting around more than 7,500 crore per month through SIP. The mutual fund has evolved over the period of time. So people are now investing in the mutual fund on a regular basis. So that is a major shift which has happened during the last few years.
Those are really some key insights that you shared. Now when I look at the market, specifically, it is evolving. I mean, the penetration, yes, it's still less in mutual funds, insurance, and overall financial industry. But there are some changes because of the digital, like recent movement of Paytm, which started selling mutual fund. There are few fintech companies started selling mutual funds. There are, if I'm not wrong, 12 to 13 only wealth management companies specifically selling mutual funds aggressively. When the new model of distribution is coming into the picture, are you strengthening very hard on distribution models, or are you going to tie up with them?
So mutual fund always depend on the partners reaching out to them, whether it is private banks or foreign banks or independent financial advisor or these Paytm banks and the fintech companies. That is another new partners in SBI in the
True.
mutual fund growth history. So they all will be there. There is a place for each and everyone. There is a scope for much more players actually in India because the revolution has just started.
Yes.
And there is a scope and there is a viable business model for each of these companies. And I think that the more number of players are still welcome in this industry, and they will help into give the last mile connectivity, and the business will move in the next level. Because if you compare the developed countries with the India, in India only we are able to reach, we have only 15% of the total banking deposits that is in the mutual fund industry.
True.
But if you look into global markets, so the mutual fund industry is much bigger than the banking deposit as such.
Okay.
So we have a way ahead actually. We have the miles to go actually, reaching to that objective.
So when we have seen a fluctuation in the market, specifically Sensex and large cap and even in mid caps, because of the global downturn, trade war also impacted on the market. In this scenario, how do you actually do the right asset allocation, or what is your strategy for the asset allocation?
When we talk about the mutual fund, the normal investor believe that mutual fund means equity only.
Yes.
Because that is a part. Mutual fund invest broadly in India in three asset classes, that is equity, debt and the gold. In these three asset classes in India, as of now, the mutual funds are permitted to invest. So from this 25 lakh crore, 10 lakh crore is approximately less than 10 lakh crore that is in the equity. Rest is in a fixed income instruments of the various mutual fund schemes. So volatility that in part and parcel of the market, but to tame the volatility we call it asset allocation. We have to invest in the various asset classes, in debt and equity and short term debt, long term debt, medium term debt, in equity also large cap, mid cap, small cap. only then we should not, because generally what the investor do, his objective is to maximizing the return. But the mutual fund is a way to optimize the return actually. It should not be that we invest only in equities and to create a highest return, but mutual fund should be used as a optimization of return tool. For that we can use a short term, long term, medium term debt papers, debt schemes, and we can use a large cap, mid cap, small cap as per our risk taking capacity as a combination of all these products. So combination is a key actually. The asset allocation is a key because every person is a unique. So there cannot be a one model which can fit to all the peoples.
Right.
So some of the people who can take risk, probably the equity can help them. Some of the people who cannot take risk, the fixed income instruments, oriented mutual funds that can help them to reach out their goals.
And how do you measure that? What is your parameter?
So the broader parameter is risk taking. When we compare the risk taking capacity of the person, so broader his age profile, his income profile, his social or financial responsibilities. So that is things which we take into consideration while calculating his risk taking capacity. According to his risk taking capacity, he can choose the different products with the different risk within the different return expectation.
So, since you spoke about return expectation, and the first thing every investor would like to know when they invest in any mutual fund, if you could give me some sense on the returns that SBI Mutual Fund has given. I know it's very difficult to say how much return have you given in 1 year, but if you could give a span of at least 3 to 5 years, how much are the average returns that you have given to your investors?
Depending upon the product. If we are expecting a debt product, so that fixed income instrument can generate you a return of 7 to 9% type of return. In that range, they can medium to long term instrument can generate in next 3 to 5 year periods. When you talk about the equities, in equity the thumb rule is GDP plus inflation. That is a return you should expect from the equities. If the country is growing at 7-8% and the inflation is 5-6%, so you can expect 12-13% type of return from the equity oriented mutual funds. But the problem with the equity oriented mutual fund is return is not a straight line. Every year you get 12-13% type of return, and returns come with the volatility. Some in one financial year you can get a 20% return, another financial year it can be 10% negative also.
Yes.
But if we look into the history of the Indian stock market since 1979, where the BSE Sensex is based, the 100 BSE Sensex in 1979, today it is around 38,000 approximately.
Yes.
So if you compound it, it is a more than 16% CAGR return which has Sensex has only delivered.
Right.
The actively managed fund generate another 1 or 2% additional return. So that is a history. And with today's scenario, we can expect that in next 10 year, 15 year periods, the stock market has the potential to generate a 12-13% CAGR return in next over the period of time if you are investing for a longer period of time.
What is your perspective when you look at the future now? If I'm not wrong, there are 40 plus mutual companies operating in India.
Yeah.
Penetration is still less, but the potential is really huge. What is the strategy that you have adopted to beat the market in next 2 years?
So, in fact, the SBI Mutual Fund is one of the fastest growing mutual fund in India in last 3 year periods. We have grown from 72,000 crore as on 31st March 2015 to approximately 2,50,000 crore as on 31st August. So this is a phenomenal journey. And during this period, we are able to increase our SIP book from 155 crore per month to approximately 900 crore per month. So during this period, we are able to change the composition of our assets also, from the predominantly a debt-oriented fund house to predominantly equity-oriented fund house. That has happened because we are able to reach out we are able to create a last mile connectivity. We are open a new offices. We have take the help of our parent to reaching out to them. We are able to leverage the other channels like the private banks or other PSU banks or our IFA community in a big way to reaching out to the ultimate investors. And brand also help us.
Last question, any key point on the distribution model? Yes, we discussed already the payment bank, the new fintech companies, you may see some potential types there, but going ahead, how are you going to actually track and beat the distribution model itself, because that's one of the key area. Yes, we understand that you have SBI by your side, but still if you want to cater to smaller towns, hinterlands.
So mutual fund is basically a relationship business. Anybody who has relationship, direct control over the customers, he can sell a mutual funds. So the opportunity is huge. Whoever is catering to their customer, it can be good opportunity for regional rural banks, urban cooperative banks, or district cooperative banks in a big way, or even a payment banks, because they also want a mind share of their customers. So they have to offer them one plus product to them. So that is why they are coming, reaching out to them through the mutual fund, because mutual fund is a future for them. So there is a scope for every type of partner in this, whether it is an individual partner or institutional partner or cooperative partners. So this industry is bound to grow. So it is up to us whether we want to participate in this growth or not. We want to sit in the sideline and see the industry to grow.
Thank you so much for sharing those insights.
Thank you
Munish.
very
It was
much.
wonderful chatting to you.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for watching.